At my granddaughter's wedding, my son demanded I sign over my $400,000 house as proof of love. When I calmly refused, he snapped and smashed a cake plate over my head. Then my granddaughter's fiancé stood up and revealed a truth no one expected. The dessert plate caught me just above my right eyebrow with enough force that I actually heard the porcelain crack before I felt the pain. Chocolate ganache and blood ran down my face in equal measure, dripping onto my dress shirt, the one I'd ironed that morning specifically for my granddaughter's wedding. The room went silent, except for someone's champagne glass hitting the floor and shattering. 200 guests sat frozen, forks halfway to mouths, staring at me standing at the microphone with frosting in my hair and my own son's hand still raised from the throw. "You selfish son of a bitch," Daniel screamed. His face was purple, veins bulging in his neck. "After everything we've done for you." I dabbed at the blood with a napkin someone handed me. Didn't blink, didn't flinch, just looked at him with the same calm I'd been practicing for 3 months. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said into the microphone, my voice steady despite the warm trickle running down my temple. "I think you all deserve to know what this is really about. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This story doesn't start with violence at a wedding reception. It starts 3 months earlier, on a Tuesday afternoon in March, when my son showed up at my house without calling first. I'd lived in that house for 42 years, bought it in 1982 with my wife Margaret for $67,000, a stretch on my machinist's salary back then, but we'd made it work. Raised Daniel there, watched him learn to ride a bike on that driveway, hosted his high school graduation party in that backyard, buried Margaret from that living room 6 years ago when the cancer finally took her. The house was paid off, worth about $400,000 now according to Zillow. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, quarter-acre lot in a decent neighborhood in Costa Mesa. Too big for one person, maybe, but it was mine. Daniel arrived at 2:17 p.m. with his wife, Sheila. No hello, no hug, just straight to business as they walked through my front door like they owned the place. "Dad, we need to talk about the house," Daniel said, not even sitting down. I was in my recliner, watching a Padres game, muted the TV. "What about it? Emma's getting married in June. You know Tyler, her fiancé? Good kid. They're looking for a place to live. My granddaughter Emma, 24 years old, sweet girl, worked as a dental hygienist like her grandmother had. I'd given her my blessing when she'd brought Tyler around last Christmas. Congratulations to them," I said. "Housing market's tough right now." "Exactly," Sheila jumped in. She was 49, 10 years younger than Daniel, always dressed like she was heading to a country club, even though we'd never been country club people. "Housing prices are absolutely insane. A starter home is $500,000. They'll never be able to afford anything." I waited. I'd learned over the years that silence made people show their cards faster than questions did. "You're 72, Dad," Daniel said. "This place is too big for you. 4 bedrooms. You're rattling around in here all by yourself. You don't need all this space." "I like my space." Sheila sat down on the couch without being invited. "Robert, we're thinking about your safety. The stairs, the yard work, the maintenance. It's dangerous at your age. What if you fall and no one finds you for days? I have a medical alert button, and I talk to my neighbor Carol every morning." "That's not enough," Daniel said, his voice taking on that edge it got when he was about to be pushy. "We think it's time to downsize. Move into something more appropriate for a senior." "You want me to sell my house?" "We want you to give Emma your house," Sheila corrected, "as a wedding gift. Think about it. You'd be helping your granddaughter start her life, and you could move into a nice little apartment, 1 bedroom, no maintenance, no stairs, perfect for your needs. A nice little apartment, after 42 years. "No," I said. Daniel's face twitched. "Dad, don't be difficult. This is family. Family helps family. I am helping family. I gave Emma $5,000 toward the wedding. That's helping." "5,000? Sheila actually laughed. "Robert, this house is worth $400,000. 5,000 is nothing. It's what I could afford." "You could afford the house," Daniel said. "The house you're not even using properly. The house that's going to kill you when you fall down those stairs." "Get out," I said quietly. "What?" "Get out of my house." They left, but not before Daniel slammed the door hard enough to rattle the pictures on the wall. Through the window, I watched him and Sheila argue in the driveway, her gesturing angrily, him looking defeated. They drove away in their Lexus SUV, the one I'd helped them buy last year when they said they were having cash flow problems. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Over the next 2 weeks, Daniel called me 6 times, each conversation following the same script. "Dad, have you thought more about the house?" "No, Daniel. Emma's heartbroken. She was counting on this. She'll find a place. Tyler has a good job. You're being selfish. Mom would be so disappointed." That last one hit like a punch. Margaret had been gone 6 years, and Daniel knew exactly how to weaponize her memory. "Don't," I said. "Don't you dare tell me what your mother would want. She'd want you to help your grandchildren. She'd want you to be generous instead of hoarding a house you don't need." I hung up, blocked his calls for 3 days until he apologized via text, but the calls stopped being the problem. The visits started instead. Daniel began showing up unannounced, always with some excuse. "Just checking on you. Wanted to see if you needed anything from the store. Thought I'd mow your lawn since you're getting older. He'd stay for an hour, walk through every room, comment on things. This carpet is looking worn, Dad. When's the last time you replaced it? Oh, these stairs are so steep. I worry about you every day. The water heater is probably 15 years old. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Sheila would come sometimes too. She'd poke around the kitchen. Robert, there's expired milk in your fridge. Are you forgetting to check dates? She'd rearrange my medication bottles on the counter. We should organize these. You could accidentally take the wrong thing. Around week 3, I started noticing things were off. My reading lamp disappeared from the living room end table. I found it 2 days later in the garage. How did that get there? I'd asked when Daniel visited. He'd shrugged. You probably carried it out there for something and forgot. Dad, that's concerning. Books on my shelf would be in different orders. I'd go to grab a specific photo album and it would be 2 shelves down from where I'd kept it for 20 years. Are you moving my things? I'd asked Sheila once. She'd looked wounded. Of course not, Robert. Why would I do that? Then, softer. Are you having trouble remembering where you put things? The big one came in week 4. I was sitting down to lunch soup I'd heated on the stove when Daniel walked in using the key I'd given him years ago for emergencies. Dad, thank God you're okay. I got here as fast as I could. What are you talking about? Carol called me. Said she smelled gas coming from your house. Said you'd left the stove on. I looked at the stove. One burner was lit. Had been for the last 10 minutes while I heated my soup. I'm making lunch. No, Dad. This morning. Carol said she smelled it this morning and you didn't answer your door. I was here all morning. Nobody knocked. Daniel looked at me with this expression, concern mixed with pity. Dad, Carol wouldn't lie. You must have left it on earlier and forgot, but I knew I hadn't. I'd made oatmeal for breakfast in the microwave. Hadn't touched the stove until lunch. That's when I started to understand what was happening. They weren't just pushing for the house. They were building a case, creating a narrative. Robert's getting forgetful. Robert's becoming a danger to himself. Robert needs supervision. I'm not a stupid man. I worked as a machinist for 40 years. Precision work. You don't last in that job if you're careless or forgetful. I'd retired at 65 with full faculties and a pension. Still did crossword puzzles. Read 3 newspapers a day. Could tell you the name of every president in order and the capital of every state. But I also knew how this worked. I'd seen it happen to my friend George 2 years ago. His daughter had declared him incompetent, gotten guardianship, moved him into a facility, and sold his house to pay for his care. George died 6 months later, miserable and alone. I wasn't going to let that happen to me. On a Thursday morning in mid-April, I called my attorney. Howard Chen had handled Margaret's estate when she died. Solid guy. 32 years practicing law. He answered on the 3rd ring. Howard, I need help. I think my son is trying to have me declared incompetent so he can take my house. Slow down, Robert. Tell me everything. I told him about the conversations, the pressure, the gaslighting, the things being moved, the claims I was forgetting things. Have you forgotten things? Howard asked. No, but I can't prove I haven't. That's the problem. Okay, first thing, we need a cognitive assessment, full neurological and psychiatric evaluation. We need medical documentation that you're sharp as a tack. Done. Who should I see? Dr. Sarah Martinez, geriatric psychiatrist. Works with elder law cases frequently. I'll set it up. The evaluation happened 3 days later. Dr. Martinez was 47, professional but kind. She put me through 4 hours of testing, memory tests, problem-solving exercises, mental status examinations. At the end, she smiled. Mr. Harris, I'll have the full report ready by Friday, but I can tell you right now you're cognitively intact, above average for your age, actually. Your memory is excellent. Your reasoning is sound. There is absolutely no evidence of dementia, cognitive decline, or impairment of any kind. Can you put that in writing? Very official writing? I'll have a notarized report to your attorney by end of week. Thank you, doctor. Step 1 complete. Step 2 was Howard's idea. We need evidence. If they're moving things, saying things, we need documentation. I'm going to recommend something that might feel invasive, but trust me on this. What? Security cameras. Inside your house. Recording everything. Isn't that illegal if they don't know? Not in California. Single-party consent state. It's your house. You can record what happens in it. I called a security company that afternoon. They installed 4 cameras. Living room, kitchen, hallway, and one in the garage. Small. Hidden in smoke detectors and clocks. Cloud storage. I could access the footage from my phone. Then, I waited. Daniel visited that Sunday. Brought Sheila. I pretended everything was normal. Offered them iced tea. Made small talk about Emma's wedding plans. Dad, we need to talk seriously, Daniel started. About your living situation. We've talked about it? No. You shut down the conversation. But this isn't going away. We're worried about you. I'm fine. You're not fine, Sheila said. You're forgetting things. You left the stove on. You can't find your belongings. These are signs, Robert. Signs of what? Early dementia, Daniel said gently. Look, there's no shame in it. It happens. But we need to make plans before you hurt yourself. I don't have dementia. Dad, denial is part of the disease. We've been researching. You need supervision. You need care. What I need is for you to leave me alone. They didn't leave. They stayed for 2 more hours, walking through the house. Daniel went upstairs to check the smoke detectors. Sheila spent 15 minutes in my bedroom, folding laundry I'd left on the bed, laundry that had been in my dresser drawer. After they left, I checked the cameras. There it was. Daniel in my office, moving books, taking a photo frame from my desk and putting it in a drawer. Sheila in my bathroom, switching my prescriptions around, taking out the shampoo bottle and placing it in the linen closet. The next morning, when I couldn't find that photo frame, Daniel would get a call from Sheila. "I'm worried about your dad. He keeps losing things." I downloaded the footage, sent it to Howard. "This is good," he said, "but we need more. We need them on record discussing their actual plan." That came 2 weeks later, courtesy of someone I didn't expect. Tyler, Emma's fiancé, showed up at my house on a Tuesday evening. It was 7:43 p.m. He looked nervous, kept glancing at his car like someone might see him. "Mr. Harris, I shouldn't be here," he said when I opened the door. "Emma doesn't know, but I can't let them do this to you. Come in, sit down, tell me everything." We sat in the living room. Tyler was 26, worked as a civil engineer, seemed like a genuinely good kid. His hands were shaking. "I was at Daniel and Sheila's house 3 nights ago for dinner. Emma was in the bathroom and I heard them talking in the kitchen. They didn't know I was right outside the door." "What did they say?" "They were talking about you, about the house," Daniel said. "Once he signs it over to Emma, we move to phase 2. Sheila said, "The nursing home?" And Daniel said, "The state facility. Cheap. We only need to keep him there long enough to liquidate the other assets." My stomach dropped. "Other assets?" "Your bank accounts, your pension, everything. They're planning to file for guardianship. They've been documenting everything, taking photos of the house looking messy, recording conversations where you supposedly forget things. They have a whole file built up." "Jesus Christ. It gets worse," Sheila said. "We just need a few more incidents. Then we bring in Dr. Patterson." I looked him up. "Mr. Harris. Dr. James Patterson. He's a geriatric specialist who's been sued twice for signing off on questionable competency evaluations. He's who they're planning to use to declare you unfit." "Why are you telling me this?" Tyler met my eyes. "Because I love Emma, but I'm not going to be part of this. What they're doing, it's financial abuse. It's elder abuse. It's wrong. And if Emma finds out after we're married, it'll destroy her." "Does Emma know about any of this?" "No. She thinks they're genuinely worried about you. They've convinced her you're declining. She cried to me last week about how scared she is that you're getting dementia." I sat back, processed it. My son wasn't just trying to take my house. He was planning to institutionalize me, lock me away, take everything I'd worked 42 years to build. "Tyler, I need you to do something for me. Would you be willing to give a statement to my attorney about what you heard?" "Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And Tyler, be careful. If they find out you told me." "I know. I'm being careful." He left. I immediately called Howard and told him everything. "Okay," Howard said. "Here's what we're going to do. We document everything. We build a counter case. We get affidavits. We prepare a response. And we wait." "Wait for what?" "For them to make their move. They will. Probably soon. And when they do, we'll be ready." The wedding was June 15th, a Saturday. Beautiful day. Clear skies. The ceremony was at a golf club in Newport Beach. 200 guests. Emma looked stunning in her dress, reminded me so much of Margaret, I almost cried. Daniel and Sheila played doting parents, paid for everything, smiled for photos, gave a speech about young love and new beginnings. I sat at a table in the back, talked to relatives I hadn't seen in years, danced one dance with Emma father-daughter moment since her actual father was busy with hosting duties. She hugged me tight. "I love you, Grandpa. Thank you for being here. Wouldn't miss it for the world, sweetheart." The reception was in full swing by 6 p.m. Dinner service, toasts, the first dance, everything perfect, classic, exactly what Emma had wanted. Then, at 8:11 p.m., Daniel stood up and clinked his fork against his champagne glass. The room quieted. "Before this wonderful evening ends," he announced, his voice carrying that fake warmth he used in public, "my father has a very special gift for the happy couple." He gestured toward me, expectant, smug. I hadn't planned to make a scene. Howard and I had discussed this. "Let them hang themselves," he'd said. "Don't engage unless you absolutely have to." But Daniel had just forced my hand. I stood slowly, used my cane for effect, didn't actually need it, but I'd been playing up the elderly father role all evening. Walked to the microphone at the front of the room. 200 pairs of eyes on me. "That's right," I said, my voice steady. "I do have something to share with Emma and Tyler." Daniel beamed. "Dad has decided to give Emma and Tyler the family home, a beautiful 4-bedroom house worth $400,000, a home for them to start their life together." Applause started, scattered at first, then building. People were smiling. This was exactly the kind of generous grandparent moment everyone loved at weddings. I raised my hand. "Wait." The applause died. Confused faces. "I think everyone should hear the full story before they celebrate." Daniel's smile faltered. "Dad, what are you?" I pulled out my phone. Earlier that day, Howard and I had worked with the venue's AV team to sync my phone to the sound system, just in case. I'd hoped I wouldn't need it. "My son Daniel has been very concerned about my health lately," I said. "So concerned that he's been planning my future without consulting me." I pressed play. Daniel's voice filled the reception hall, crystal clear from the hidden camera recording. "Once he signs the house over to Emma, we move to phase 2. Sheila's voice house. The nursing home? Daniel, the state facility. Cheap. We only need to keep him there long enough to liquidate the other assets. Then we cut him loose. The room went dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning, someone's knife scraping their plate. I let the recording play. He's stubborn, but we've been documenting everything. The memory issues, the confusion. Dr. Patterson will sign off on the evaluation. Then, we file for guardianship. What about Emma? Emma doesn't need to know. She just gets the house. A wedding gift from Grandpa. She'll never question it. And the money? Bank accounts, pension, everything. I'm estimating about $200,000 total. We split it, cover our debts, set aside money for Emma's down payment. The rest is ours. There. Thanks for watching. And I stopped the recording. Let it sink in. Emma had both hands over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Tyler had his arm around her, his jaw clenched. Guests were muttering, whispers spreading like wildfire through the tables. Daniel was standing now, face white. Dad, you don't understand. That was taken out of context. Out of context? I pulled out my folder, the one Howard had prepared. Let me provide some context. I held up the first document. This is a psychiatric evaluation from Dr. Sarah Martinez, a board-certified geriatric psychiatrist. It confirms I have zero cognitive impairment, perfect mental health, sharp memory, sound judgment. Dad, this, I held up another paper, is a property assessment confirming that my house is worth approximately $400,000. A house I own outright. A house you wanted me to gift to Emma. It was for her benefit. Was it? I held up my phone again. Here's a video recording from my home security system, dated April 22nd. Would you like me to play it? It shows you moving items in my house, switching medications, deliberately creating evidence that I was becoming forgetful. Gasps around the room. Emma was crying harder now. Tyler looked furious. And here, I pulled out another document, is a sworn affidavit from Tyler Brennan, my granddaughter's husband, as of this afternoon, describing what he overheard you plotting, about the guardianship, about the nursing home, about liquidating my assets. Tyler stood up. His voice shook, but it was loud enough for everyone to hear. I heard them planning it. Daniel said he was going to dump you in a state facility. He bragged about getting you declared incompetent. You little traitor, Daniel shouted. You were supposed to be family. I am family. That's why I told the truth. I looked at Daniel, at my son, the boy I'd raised, the man I'd sacrificed for, the person I'd loved unconditionally for 54 years. Explain something to me, I said quietly, still standing at the microphone. Why did you bring guardianship papers to a wedding? What? The papers in your car, in the trunk, the emergency guardianship petition. Why bring those to your daughter's wedding? Howard had found them. Daniel had parked in the lot. Howard had brought a locksmith as a wedding guest who'd confirmed their presence. Completely legal, with probable cause. Daniel's face went purple. You had someone search my car? I had an attorney protect my rights. Now answer the question. I was trying to help you. His voice cracked, got louder. You're 72 years old, living alone in a house that's going to kill you. I was trying to take care of you. The nursing home was for your own safety. The guardianship was to protect you from yourself. You were trying to erase me, I said. My voice didn't rise, didn't waver. You were going to lock me away, steal everything I'd built, and tell yourself it was for my own good. 200 people were staring at him. Family, friends, colleagues, his daughter's wedding guests, everyone seeing him exactly as he was. I was trying to help, he screamed. After everything I've done for you, after visiting you every week, after worrying about you constantly, this is how you repay me? By refusing to be stolen from? That's when he snapped. I saw it happen, saw something in his eyes just break. He grabbed the dessert plate in front of him, Emma's wedding cake still untouched on it, chocolate ganache with gold leaf decoration, and hurled it at my head. The porcelain caught me above my right eyebrow. I felt it crack, felt the impact in my teeth. Chocolate and blood mixed together, warm and sticky, running down into my eye. The room exploded in gasps and screams. Someone's chair fell backward. Emma was sobbing. Sheila had gone white as paper. I didn't move, didn't flinch, just stood there at the microphone with frosting in my hair and blood dripping onto my collar and looked at my son. 2 security guards were already moving. Tyler was on his feet. Half the male guests were standing. I took the napkin someone handed me, wiped chocolate from my eye, dabbed at the blood, never took my eyes off Daniel. Ladies and gentlemen, I said into the microphone, my voice absolutely calm, that is the real Daniel Harris. That is what happens when a man who thinks he's entitled to steal from his father gets told no. Security grabbed Daniel's arms. He was still screaming. You selfish bastard. You ungrateful old fool. After everything, they dragged him toward the exit. Sheila scrambled after them, heels clicking on the floor, face buried in her hands. The videographer had caught everything, every second, from the recordings I'd played to the cake plate hitting my head. He was still recording, his camera steady, his face professional but shocked. I turned to Emma. She was at her table, Tyler's arm around her, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. I walked over slowly, blood still dripping, but the napkin was helping. Sweetheart, I said gently, I'm so sorry. I never wanted your wedding day to end like this. Grandpa, your head. I'm fine. Head wounds bleed a lot, but it's nothing serious. I looked at Tyler. Thank you for standing standing up, for doing the right thing. Tyler nodded, jaw still clenched. I'm sorry it took this long. Emma looked up at me. He was going to put you in a nursing home? Steal from you? Yes, but he's my dad. He paid for this wedding. She stopped, processed it. Oh God, he used your money, didn't he? The money he was planning to take from you? I hadn't even thought of that. But looking at her face, I realized she was probably right. Daniel and Sheila had been having cash flow problems for years. Where had the $30,000 for this wedding come from? I don't know, I said honestly, but it doesn't matter now. It does matter. She stood up, hugged me carefully, avoiding my bleeding head. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have seen it. I should have known. You couldn't have known. He hid it well. The wedding coordinator appeared, a competent woman in her 50s who'd probably seen everything. Mr. Harris, we have a first aid kit, and we've called the police. They're on their way. The police? That was assault. On camera, in front of 200 witnesses. They'll want a statement. The next 3 hours were chaos. An EMT treated my head, 6 butterfly bandages, no concussion, would leave a scar, but nothing serious. 2 police officers arrived. Detective Maria Torres, 15 years on the force, took my statement, took Tyler's statement, confiscated the security footage from the venue, reviewed the recordings I'd played. Mr. Harris, I'm going to recommend charges. Assault with a deadly weapon, the plate qualifies. Elder abuse, attempted fraud, conspiracy. The DA will decide what sticks, but you have a strong case. Will he go to jail? Probably not for long, but he'll have a record, and with the civil case you're building, he'll be financially ruined. Howard appeared. He'd been at the wedding as my guest. Robert, we need to file a restraining order immediately. Daniel and Sheila are barred from contacting you, coming near your home, or accessing any of your assets. Done. Emma and Tyler are clean on all this. I've reviewed Tyler's statement. He came to you when he learned about the plot. He's documented everything. He's a victim here too. Emma and Tyler came over as the police were finishing up. Emma's makeup was ruined from crying. Tyler looked like he wanted to punch something. Grandpa, come stay with us tonight, Emma said. Please, I don't want you going home alone. Where are you staying? We have a hotel room for the wedding night, but we'll get another room, please. I looked at her, at Tyler, at these kids who'd stood up for me when my own son had tried to destroy me. Okay, I said. Thank you. We left the venue at 11:47 p.m. The remaining guests were long gone. The beautiful decorations looked sad now. Wilted flowers, melted candles, half-eaten cake. Emma's perfect wedding day, ruined. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, I said again in the car. I tried to wait, tried to handle it privately, but he forced the issue. Don't apologize, she said fiercely. Don't you dare apologize. He did this, not you. The hotel was quiet. They got me a room next to theirs. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, butterfly bandages pulling at my skin, thinking about everything that had happened. My son had tried to steal my life, and when I'd stopped him, he'd physically attacked me at his daughter's wedding, in front of everyone who mattered to him. I should have felt victorious, vindicated. Instead, I just felt old and tired and sad. Around 2 a.m., there was a soft knock on my door. Emma, still in her wedding dress. Can't sleep either, I asked. No, she came in, sat in the chair by the window. Tyler's out cold, but I keep thinking about everything. About Dad, about how I didn't see it. You weren't supposed to see it. That's how gaslighting works. Did he ever love me? Or was I always just a way to get to your money? That question broke my heart more than the plate to the head. He loves you, I said. He's just broken. Your grandmother's death broke something in him. The financial pressure broke something else. And Sheila. I trailed off. Sheila's poison, Emma said flatly. I've always known it, but Dad loved her, and I thought maybe she made him happy. I didn't know she was making him worse. Some people bring out the worst in us. It doesn't excuse what he did, but it explains it. She wiped her eyes. What happens now? Now I press charges. Now Howard files civil suits. Now your father faces consequences. Will you ever forgive him? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. Maybe someday, but not soon. And never if he doesn't acknowledge what he did. She nodded, stood up, hugged me again. I love you, Grandpa. Thank you for fighting back. Thank you for not letting them win. I love you too, sweetheart. Now go to bed. You're married now. Start your marriage right. She smiled weakly. Left. I lay back down. Finally slept around 4 a.m. The next 3 months were legal hell. Daniel was arrested and charged with assault, elder abuse, and attempted fraud. Sheila was charged as an accomplice. They both made bail. Emma filed for a restraining order against her own parents after Daniel called her 17 times in one day, alternating between begging for forgiveness and screaming that I'd turned her against him. The civil suit moved forward. Howard documented everything: the gaslighting, the manipulation, the theft, the recordings, Tyler's testimony, Dr. Martinez's evaluation. We sued for emotional distress, attempted fraud, elder abuse. The court froze Daniel and Sheila's assets. Turned out they'd taken out a second mortgage on their own house to pay for Emma's wedding, planning to pay it back with my money once they'd gained control of it. They were $73,000 in debt. In August, they filed for bankruptcy, lost their house. Daniel's employer found out about the charges and let him go. He worked in healthcare administration, and elder abuse charges were a disqualifier. Sheila lost her job at a wealth management firm for the same reason. The criminal trial was was in September. The venue's videographer testified. His footage showed everything. The recordings, the cake plate, Daniel's face as he attacked me. Tyler testified, described what he'd overheard. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, found Daniel guilty of assault and elder abuse. Sheila, guilty of conspiracy. Daniel got 18 months, suspended to 6 months in county jail, plus 3 years probation. Sheila got probation and community service. Both got permanent marks on their records. The civil suit settled in October. They owed me $127,000 in damages. They'd never be able to pay it. I didn't care. I just wanted it on record what they'd done. Emma and Tyler bought a small condo in November. 2 bedrooms, nice neighborhood. They could afford it with their own money. I gave them $5,000 toward closing costs. A real gift this time. No strings. I still live in my house. The 4-bedroom with the stairs and the yard and the memories. Carol still checks on me every morning. I still do crossword puzzles and read 3 newspapers and remember the names of all the presidents. I'm 73 now. My son hasn't spoken to me since the trial. Neither has his wife. I doubt they ever will. Emma visits every Sunday. Brings Tyler. We have lunch. Talk about nothing important. Avoid the topic of her father. The scar above my eyebrow is still there. Faded but visible. People sometimes ask about it. I tell them the truth. My son threw a cake at me at a wedding. They laugh, think I'm joking, making some comment about family drama. I don't correct them. Because the real story, the story of how your own child can look at you and see nothing but an obstacle to money, that story is too dark for casual conversation. But it's the story I live with. It's the scar I carry. And it's the reminder I need that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes safety requires distance. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. Daniel wanted my house, wanted my money, wanted to erase me to get it. But I'm still here, still in my house, still sharp, still standing. And he's the one who lost everything.